In a previous video, I created a test-driven design unit test for a Mustang class that did not yet exist. So in this video, I'm going to actually create that Mustang class by using test-driven design. It's going to be a fairly straightforward class that we're making. We're simply going to extend the existing vehicle class, make our Mustang class, and then add an attribute for convertible. A nice thing about test-driven design is that we start with requirements, we elaborate those requirements into examples, and then we create unit tests from the examples. So when the unit tests pass, we know we've met the requirements. Another nice thing is that we write a unit test that breaks. And our goal is to get that unit test to pass. So we essentially have a script on what we need to do. Let's take a look at our Mustang test for an example. Okay, what's the first error? We don't have a class called Mustang. So Alt-Enter and let's create this class. We will change it to the source directory like so, and then we'll choose OK. Now, we want to inherit what we can from vehicle because a Mustang is a vehicle. So we will extends vehicle. Excellent. Let's go back to our test and see if we resolve that issue. And sure enough, take a look. We have resolved the issue. Mustang class currently exists. So let's now look at our next issue. Next issue is we need a setConvertible method. So let's let the IDE help us out here. Alt-Enter. And I'm going to choose Create Property Convertible in Mustang, because we know that this one is particular to Mustang. So we've extended vehicle and we've added something specific to the subclass, which is the ability for it to be a convertible. Now let's go back and look at our tests. One fine line here, for a Boolean variable, we don't tend to use a getter method, we tend to call it an is method. It's just a special case. I did call it a getter method here in my test, so I'm going to do something I should not do, and I'm going to change the test to match the code. Normally we would change the code to match the test. That one's kind of split in hairs. Some people use get, some use is. Yeah, we'll stick with is, that's fine. Now we simply need to import this assert true. There's our test. Okay, and we can run the test. We can verify that when we set convertible to true, that convertible is indeed true. This is the only thing that makes the Mustang unique over a normal car. We see the test pass. Now, we remember something from Sonic test as well, and that is we can reuse all of the logic in vehicle test by inheriting it if we wish. So let's go back to our Mustang test, and let's do that. I'll say Mustang test extends vehicle test. And now we're going to get the benefit of the test methods up in vehicle test, but with one caveat. And again, I covered this when we did our Sonic test. In the vehicle superclass, it creates new vehicle object, stores that into a variable named vehicle of type vehicle, and it's testing that superclass. But in the Mustang test, we actually want to test the subclass Mustang. So we'll do exactly what we did with the Sonic test, which is simply copy and paste this method into our Mustang class, which means it's going to override the method from the superclass vehicle test. And it's going to use this instead of the superclass from vehicle test, but everything else it can inherit from vehicle test. So what I'm going to change here is where I have vehicle equals new vehicle in my Mustang test. I'm going to change it to vehicle equals new Mustang. So we're testing specifically a Mustang in this Mustang test. Now, I walked through that part in the debugger in that Sonic video, so I won't worry about that now, but I will go ahead and run it so we can confirm that our Mustang meets all of the criteria. And we see that we now have two tests that have passed. The go increase odometer by 100 and decrease gallons of gas by 5 when miles per gallon is 20, which we're inheriting from our superclass. But by using dynamic binding, it's actually reaching down and creating a Mustang object with our overridden method here. And then we have a second test that is passed, and that's the convertible test that we wrote earlier. So two tests pass, the test that we have for a vehicle and the test that we have specifically for a Mustang. We know that a Mustang is a vehicle and a Mustang can be a convertible. So we can now call this requirement complete. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to reading your comments. Thank you.